everybody, how we doing? We're here with Terence. We're gonna be doing
Hi,
a Q&A. Terence, how you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome. Yeah, thank you for having us, or thank you for having me. STF
Absolutely.
was supposed to be here too, but we've kind of run into like a little technical emergency, so it's just gonna be me for today.
Hey, that's perfectly acceptable. We're just grateful to have you here and you're willing to sit down with us for a little bit and chat. Um, so
And
we've got
I just want to apologize for the nose cam. I'm doing this on my phone right now, so
oh no, you're good. Hey, we're working with what we've
Yeah.
got, chat. So it's gonna be a little bit rough here for this first one, but it'll get better as we go. So we've got quite a bit of questions. The community, you guys were really good with sending in stuff. We actually had too many to even. We had so many to filter through. So we went ahead and added your guys' Discord tags if you added it to the form. So Infidel, I'll go ahead and I'll just start with the first couple here, and then you can go ahead and take over from there.
Yeah, sounds good.
So Static3499 asked
sounds good.
five questions. His first one is, how will playing additional maps work? Will they be rotated after a certain amount of time?
Okay, so before we start, I just wanted to make everything clear is that the current stage of development we're at right now is it truly is an alpha stage. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be talking about, or I'll discuss, but none of this is set in stone, right? So this comes down to when we talk about the maps, there's no decisions we've made so far that are like final decisions. So it's all, at least until we get to the beta stage, we're going to be doing a lot of experimental stuff. And so because we're curious about data. And so going back to how actual new maps will work is, so this next playtest, um, so the previous playtest, we had a lot of questions about the maps. And so we collected a lot of data, and that just led to new questions about, okay, how can we improve the level design, the layouts, and all that stuff.
Okay.
Hello? Okay, yeah. Um, so the next playtest coming up, you're gonna see, so the modules are gonna be similar, but we're gonna be experimenting with a lot of different layouts now, right? And
Hmm.
so in terms of doing additional work, map, how it's going to be rotated out is just way too early to say. But I could say that our end goal, our end goal is to have, cool kick-ass maps, that give diverse play sets and that give a lot of variety with the actual gameplay itself. And so we want to be able to get to a point where we're building actual specific locales with the map sets themselves, you know? So, I mean, I think it was in Clean's chat one time, we were talking about like, so the structure of the maps is always going to be like 3 floors. That's at least a big design pillar that at least this point we haven't we don't see any need to change yet. So it'll be like the first floor, second floor, the bottomless floor. And so we're looking at ways to make this more complementary. And so, like previously we are talking about, oh yeah, we're thinking about having like an upper floor that has like a castle ruin or maybe a forest. And so those are all still things that are in our mind. But going back to, are they going to be rotated, or I don't have an answer for that.
Right.
And it's just because we're still in actual alpha stage. Yeah, I just want all our testers to know, hey, this is the actual alpha development right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
100%.
That's totally understandable. I mean, I think it was a
Sorry.
little to be expected that what we're dealing with now obviously is not anywhere near the final product, right? So that's kind of cool that you guys are playing with
Yeah,
ideas
we
and
still have a
testing
ways to
different
go.
maps. Yeah, and different levels and such. That's a really cool idea. I'm really excited to kind of see how that progresses along the way and what we end up with, final product. So the next question was, what sort of cosmetic, if any, are planned?
Okay, so again, because we're in the alpha state, but the reality of it is because we are running the company as a business, and so we are definitely looking into, okay, what are the proper business models to do it fairly. And so one of the forerunners is doing cosmetics, right?
Hmm.
And so for sure, we're investigating into doing cosmetics, and we're actually started working on some of those systems now internally. And so for us, again, it goes back to another thing for us is that we have to make sure that it's absolutely not any kind of cosmetics. Um, if we do monetize off that, is that it can't be pay to win. So for us is right now the reason we're starting to work on cosmetic systems internally at this early stage is to kind of find that line. Okay, is this dangerous, or is this something that, okay, this could be something that we could build upon in the future? So for sure, there are cosmetics in the plans, but we don't have that many details right now because so like one thing right now that the first internal system that we're kind of working on is okay. Um, would like changing the skin or the appearance of your character. How far can we go with that, and how fun can we make that? And I guess one cosmetic we're pretty confident that's going to be coming in the future are the emotes, because we already had the first emote in there, where you could
Excellent.
that's the surrender,
Yeah.
yeah, and 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 for us, it's like, oh yeah, people like just that simple one emote, and people are getting so creative with that. And so those are the things that um, we want to add to the game when we're adding cosmetics. So I think there's like two very important points going forward with cosmetics, is because the first thing is we want our cosmetics to make sense, because we had this big grand vision for what we want to do at Dark and Darker, and that includes building out the world. So world building and building out some of the lore and the setting. And so at least until this is complete, we want all our cosmetics to actually like make some kind of sense within that realm of like traditional fantasy, right? So
Hmm.
we don't want to have like pink, uh, you know, bunny helmets or
Right.
K-pop stars
Yeah,
running around
please no.
Yeah. No Fortnite
in our dungeon.
cosmetics.
Yeah, yeah. So exactly. And the second thing is what we're looking for is what kind of joy, like enjoyment, if that we could give people to express themselves while still maintaining the consistency with our fantasy setting. So those are the two things that we're always keeping in mind when we're looking into what kind of cosmetics will make sense for Dark and Darker. And so yes, the answer is yes, they are planned. We don't have actual details. We do know, hey, emotes for sure. Those are something we're working on, and we have a couple that we've playtest or put internally, and that look pretty cool. And I think people will have a lot of fun with that.
Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I actually really like that idea. I like because the surrender, it's already kind of fun to play with. I've personally used it just a ton. I don't want to talk too much so that we can bang out some of these questions here, but the next
Okay.
question from Static, I don't think we're gonna make it through all five of his because I want to get through a good chunk of these. Um, are there
Okay.
plans for more class unique weapons like the Crystal Sword for wizards?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So yeah. So this is why it's a little disappointing. SDF couldn't join us right now.
Mm-hmm.
But he's the one he's basically the guy that has the creative vision in his head that we're working. The dev team is working to actually
Yeah.
materialize that vision. And for sure, so like when we have our coffee talks and stuff, he has a ton of different ideas. Um, and so for sure, again, me personally, I don't know the details, but just be I I could say for sure that there's going to be a lot of unique, cool, creative types of weapons, as long as they fit that kind of traditional classic fantasy feel.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm getting the general idea here that everything that's added is going to remain in that, in that aspect. Okay, excellent. Well,
Yeah.
this will be I'm going to go ahead and just ask, you can give me a funny answer if you want. Is auto here to stay?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So this is just like so okay. First of all, we want to continue adding like those little kind of Easter eggs here and there, and so it makes the world feel more fleshed out. And so this is just like a funny story about Otto. Otto is actually based on a real dog. It's actually my sister's dog. And so like when we were really struggling and trying to get this project off the ground, and we actually went out and hey, to our family and friends saying, hey, can you just pitch in a little bit of money? And my sister was like, okay, I'll pitch in money, but my dog has to be in the game. I was like, okay, you got a deal. So that's how
That's
Otto
funny.
got into the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we all love auto, and we when we saw that question, we had to make sure that we asked that one. Um, Infidel, do you want to go ahead and ask him Switch TV's question there?
Yeah. Do you plan on allowing custom lobbies for like us to create custom lobbies for tournaments, that type of stuff?
Okay, so I guess so. There's two parts. The way I see this question. So for the actual custom lobbies themselves, we don't really have plans for that. If it comes, okay. So let me explain why. So so both the SDF and I, we come from like kind of old school multiplayer gaming. Like back in Counter Strike, Quake
Oh yeah.
3, Half Life, DM. That so we understand the value of having those kind of custom lobbies, but for us, when we started this project specifically for Dark and Darker, is that um, you know we had these super long in-depth talks with the two of us and the rest of the design team, and for us is SDF, he has a very specific vision that he wants to get out there first, right? And it's I think if we start going into like custom lobbies and all this, um, that becomes a little bit more noise to the actual signal that he wants to send out first. So
Yeah.
until we get to the part where we're very, he's satisfied with this grand vision that he has in his head that players understand, could I guess see to him it's kind of like an artistic impression that he wants to give, and so that's our main goal right now. And I think
Yeah.
for at least in our prediction is that it's still we have so many. He has so many things in his head that are circulating around that it's still this is like a multi-year, you know, uh, almost like maybe it might take a decade for us to get to all of that first, right?
Yeah.
And
That's
then,
gonna scare your
but
chat a little bit there, saying that comment.
no, 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 okay. So now the second part is you're talking about like having like tournaments, and so but so we feel like okay that doing supporting the community for tournaments, supporting community for other features, those are actually encompassed in his vision already. So we've already had talks about
Okay.
that, and so I think there's ways that we could uh, support those kind of features, but just not doing it through the specific custom lobbies, and not yet. And the thing is, it's not like we're saying there's never going to be custom lobbies. It's just that, and this is going to be like a running theme through this interview. I think is that there are there are sets of priorities we have to do just because we have such limited resources with our team. Is uh, where on that priority list are we putting these features? And so for us, making sure we maintain and giving the right impression for SCF's overall vision is like one of the top priorities for Dark and Darker. And so until once all of these are satisfied, and then we could get down to okay, so custom lobbies. What are the people's players' needs for the custom lobby? Can we fulfill it in other ways with other features? And but at the end of it, if we can't, and custom lobbies is the only way to do that, then that's a great conversation to have at that point. But we have all this huge list of other stuff that we have to do first, and on top of that, the highest priority is making sure we stay true to our original vision for the game.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
100%.
Yeah, that I guess that does make a lot of sense. I would rather have you guys prioritize, obviously the game breaking bugs, like the inventory bug that we dealt with for a while last time.
For
So,
sure, for sure. Yeah.
um so another one here from Vantage Bean. Do you plan on eventually incorporating races and classes in the different combination of race and class mixes?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So I mean, so the basis for Dark and Darker is that kind of traditional classic fantasy, right? So it'll be really weird. It'll be a huge omission if it's just humans, only,
Right.
and not
Yeah.
have that diverse range of races. And for classes, for sure, we've already made it very clear that we're going to be adding classes until we can't anymore. We have so many ideas, and um, there's just like what's out there right now is just the starting point, just the starting point. And so, but going back to races is it'll feel so weird for Dark and Darker to not have races, right? But for us is there's so much like going back to the putting out our vision is there's so much world building and lore stuff that we haven't even started on, right? And so I think we have to start building the pieces of the setting
Mhm.
and the lore before we could start engaging with races and stuff in an engaging way. That would make sense for the game and the player base.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yes, the answer is yes, but it's going to come in a specific order, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
catching that theme, here for like you said, for the whole thing,
So it's,
it's a very, rigorous timeline. A little question
Mm.
for myself while we're on that. I mean, how much, because obviously that first play test, you guys, you exponentially grew beyond what you guys had expected. And I'm sure that was inherently overwhelming. Um, but
yes, very much so.
right, and the second one, I mean, you guys were almost double again, right?
Yeah.
So how much did that accelerate your guys' timeline?
Okay, so that's an excellent question. Yeah. So when we started the company, we started in November last year, right? But before
Mhm.
we started the company, like we made a business plan and we put out down what we wanted to do, what our vision is, and we made a roadmap and a schedule, right? And so and we try to predict, okay, where we're gonna be like 6 months from now, a year from now, and even farther down. And so to get to these numbers for us was in our business plan, we actually said, okay, these are realistic numbers that we think is possible. I mean, yeah, but we never expected it to come this quickly. You know, like this
Right.
was, if you look at our Excel spreadsheet from back then, it's like this is all supposed to happen at the end of next year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so having this huge, overwhelming response, which is awesome, is just we're super grateful and excited for that. But at the same time, it's like, oh my God, did we bite off more than we could chew? And so for a while, it was just super overwhelming and very stressful, right?
Mhm.
But then, the more we talked about it and thought about it, it's like, okay, well, you know what? It's like if we just try to grow way too fast, that might actually hurt us in the longer run, right? And so, okay, I mean, it's awesome, and it's not like we didn't we were completely taken by surprise. It's just okay. Some of the stuff, whatever we can accelerate without um, having any, while not having detrimental effects to the quality of the product itself to the game. Um, let's try to do that. But in the end, is okay. So we have our vision, and we want to stay true to that vision. And so there are some things that even if we had like millions of dollars in our bank right now, there's like we if we try to use that and try to grow in a way that's not true to what Ironmace
Mhm.
is yeah, then we're gonna lose sight of our vision. And so in the end is okay. So it was a big reality check, but the reality is we have to grow at our pace, right? And so it might be disappointing to some people. It's like who expect, okay, we want the. So after we ended the playtest, people are just, I got so many DMs saying, hey, just leave the game open. Oh, we're willing to pay right now. Just go to early access, and which is, I'm so grateful for that. But at the same time, it's like, oh, but that's not our reality. If we did that, then we're not staying true to our vision, and
Mm-hmm.
it would hinder the overall longevity and health of the game. And so the thing is that the conclusion is, okay, we're just gonna have to grow at what we're capable of, and it might disappoint people because we're not going as fast as people expect us to.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
for us, it truly is. This is like, for us, is a multi-year investment for us. Like, not just we gave up like a lot of us here. They have decades of experience making games, so they gave up pretty comfortable jobs to come here and take a huge risk working on this game. And so for us is, okay, we to be fair to our team and colleagues, is that we can't take this lightly. And so we have to be very realistic. And if we rush something, we're going to end up with bigger problems. So we're going to go at our rate. Yeah.
Right.
And so it was stressful, but it's a good stress to have. And it just, for us, it kind of showed us, okay, this is the reality and where we're at right now. And it gave us a lot of motivation, and it at the same time, it gave us a big confidence boost.
Oh,
Yeah, 100%.
absolutely. Infidel, do you want to go ahead and ask him that next one about number 8?
Yeah, that's what I'm about to do.
Cool.
I do like the fact that y'all are staying true to what you are wanting, or true to your vision, instead of going and like, rushing things. But the next
Thank you.
question is the guy didn't put his name in there, but it's the hacking industry and cheaters have tarnished the gaming experience in Escape from Tarkov, Psycho Frontier, and many other similar games. We all hope
Yes.
Ironmace recognizes how serious this problem is, and what will y'all do to catch, punish, and deter cheating for the future?
Okay, yeah. So first of all, it's just because everyone at our studio, we all love games, and the majority of us play online PC games, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so and that's where the majority of the hacking and the cheating and the exploits are make their impact. And so, and we've been like, we've felt the impact firsthand, you know. So like we're 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 sick and tired of the hackers just as much, and we understand firsthand uh, how they could destroy a game, a community, right? And so for us, it's pretty much one of the highest priority issues for us is how are we going to deal with hackers. So our newest hire who just joined us, but I mean we've been asking him, since the start of since the inception of the company, we've been asking, hey, you got to join us. But one of the guys that just joined us recently, he's a world-renowned security expert. I'll leave it at that, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we've been asking him since day one, hey, you have to join us, you have to join us. And so so that's how important, being able to address hackers, cheaters is. We've been hounding this guy, from day one, and he just joined us, and he's going to help us a lot in that regard. And but that's on the technical level, like so. This is just I don't want to dox anything but just on like one of the anecdotes is like he's gone like real time with like Russian hackers trying to plug exploits, in real time.
Yeah.
So if I gave his name and you guys did like a Google search, like people in the security industry would know who we're talking about. But so for us is it's kind of multi-pronged. Is okay, we need experts that can help us out to make sure that tech, in terms of our technology stack, um, we could meet the challenge of hacking and exploits head on. At the same time, we realize, okay, but the reality of it is there's no way in a technical sense that we're going to be able to stop all hacks. Yeah, there's going to be hackers
100%.
no matter what, right? Yeah,
Right.
100%. And so then the other multi-pronged approach for us is through the community service and trying to do as much involvement, in actual human resources to deal with this, right? So like the last playtest, right? We had close to 200,000 people playtest, and um, we had quite a bit of hackers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And cheaters and exploiters. And so like our commitment was so me and one of our lead programmers, we just sat in Discord, and whenever people made reports, we just like, you know, I should have been doing more business development and producing. He should have been doing more actual like working on getting rid of the bugs. But to us, it was so important during the playtest to deal with these hackers in real time. So we just sat in Discord like as much as we could, and whenever a report came in, we would try in real time to get rid of these hackers. And
Mm-hmm.
so uh, to us, it's like okay, having that kind of I guess enforcement is also extremely important. And so those are the aspects that we're going to start focusing on. So we have world-class security experts and advisors to help us in the technical side. But even then, we know that the reality is that that's only part of the game. And so enforcement of actual rules and getting rid of hackers in real time. And the community has been extremely helpful too. As I think so, they were talking about the cycle, and season one they had a kind of a big hacker issue, but they a lot of our people in the community that came over from that played the Cycle Frontier, they've informed us, oh, season two has been a lot better, and they utilize, I guess, Valve's trusted account system, and so
Yep.
that was a great piece of advice. And so those are other aspects and other you know features or technology that we could investigate into addressing the hacking issue.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice that you guys it sounds like it was already on your radar before it was ever a problem, which gives me a lot
Oh,
of faith.
it was on our radar from day zero.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before,
which it's
100%.
gotta
Yeah.
be, right? I mean, we've all
yeah,
seen the rise and fall of specifically this category of game. I mean,
yeah,
Infidel and myself, we both came from. I mean, I would say we're borderline pretty veteran Tarkov players. Um, and so we watched, unfortunately, wipe after wipe. Our real time money trading and all these things just really borderline ruined the game for people. And so it's good that you guys are taking a proactive effort to make sure it's it killed before it's really even ever started.
yeah. And I think the other thing for us was that just the genre of games with the hardcore like this the looter extraction shooter is just because
Hmm.
uh, the the detrimental effects of hacking are have such a bigger impact, because these are all like the loot you've worked so hard to accumulate, and if you lose that, through an exploit or a hack, it just makes a bigger hit, and so that's why it's even more critical for us uh, ensure that okay, we have to control hacking. We have to have plans for how we're going to address hackers from the get go, because this is even more critical for the type of game that we're making right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So I mean, how much more time do you have? I don't want to take, too much out of your schedule.
Okay. like 5-10 minutes then.
5-10
I always
minutes.
say five
Okay.
ten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I think we
Excellent.
asked the
We'll
very
see how it goes.
last.
Yeah.
I think we asked
Also,
the very last question here. See if we can
well,
get any leaks here.
let
Oh,
me
okay, let's do 3 more questions then. Three more
3 more.
questions. We'll
Okay.
just do the
Let
question.
me
Yeah,
just
Okay.
address.
yeah.
We've got a lot of questions here in chat. Just so you guys know, all these questions that we're asking, these were predetermined questions. We had a Google form for this placed about a month ago, and we received an overwhelming amount of questions. So we'll go ahead and post another for our next one that we're gonna do. So if you guys want to ask some of these, I'm reading a lot of them, and I apologize that I can't ask them. But keep these on your, in your notes, and make sure to fill out that form for us so that we can have some of these really good questions for the future.
All right. Or let's just go through as many as possible then, and I'll just try to keep if the question is short, I'll just do short answers, and then if the question is more in depth, then I'll give longer answers. So
Right.
let's do 10 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
So let's see.
Speed round.
Scuba Steve asked if or when should we be expecting some sort of fall damage?
So again, priority list is very low on the priority list. So I mean, part of it has to do is like again, we come back. SDF and I, we come from like the old school online um, gaming. That's our background, and so it's kind of like our little Easter egg homage to Counter Strike. They didn't have fault, but the the end vision for Dark and Darker is to have that kind of more grounded, realistic feel. But at least for us, it's fun not having fall damage right now, and so it's not a high priority.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll skip the follow-up question
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah, we'll
go-
I think we'll go to Modest Mate next, the one I like. So a good friend of ours, Modest Mate, says, "Do you have any ideas for ranged weapons other than crossbows and bows?"
Oh yeah. We have a lot of ideas. Yeah. I mean, just like yesterday, we're talking about like slingshots and slings, and the wrist crossbows. I think like who was it, Spud Hunter was, and those are all things. If you've seen it in like D&D or other classic fantasy games, expect it in Dark and Darker.
Gotcha.
Excellent. Let's see. So T-Ski asked quite a few questions. I'm gonna go ahead and skip the first one, and the second one, just because we kind of already touched on some of the stuff. I guess
Okay.
one of the big ones is, what are your current setbacks that might hinder the scaling of the game and the release?
Oh yeah. So the biggest one. Okay, biggest one was like the super overwhelming response. And it was like, to us, it was like, oh my god, this huge wave. But now that it's kind of swept, and we've had time to collect our thoughts, it's like, oh, you know what? Okay, we could work with this. And but again, our solution is okay, just stay true to what we wanted to do from the beginning, and to just go at our pace, right? And not so it accelerates things, but and we're gonna figure out ways that we could do it within our capacity, right? So I guess so it does, in the beginning it was like, oh, it's going to hinder scaling because we when we got the huge response, it's like, oh, then we gotta respond the same degree, and we have to scale the game at the same amount, and then but the reality was, no, that's just gonna make it harder for us and make the product worse. So we're gonna go at our, once we realize that, okay, we stay true to our vision and our capacity and our um, the reality of our situation is okay. It's not an issue anymore. Yeah. So
Okay.
maybe it might be an issue in that, okay, players our fan base right now is expecting it faster, but the reality is we can't do that. And so once we came back to what's practical, it's like, okay, so we have a bunch of challenges ahead of us, but we've gotten this far, and we've had at times it seemed like insurmountable obstacles. But hey, okay, as long as we believe in ourselves and what we're trying to accomplish with our studio and Dark and Darker, and do it at our pace, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so as of right now, no huge huge setbacks or
Just kind of flying, moment of, I'm
we're
sure a
gonna
lot of these
keep
bugs.
to yeah.
Go ahead.
So yeah. So I mean, we're gonna just keep to our original schedule.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
was the conclusion at the end is, hey, yeah, I mean, some things got accelerated, but we made this plan, and we haven't. Nothing has deviated uncontrollably for us. So yeah, until it's an actual true emergency, let's stick to the plan. Let's stick to our roadmap. It's got us this far. So
Excellent. Okay, I love it. Infidel, you can go ahead and ask the last two questions from us there, and we'll let him get out
Yeah.
of here.
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
So, will there be any sort of crafting system in the game?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, again, it's like races, and it'll feel so weird if we don't have it.
If you didn't have it,
Yeah.
The game would not be complete without a crafting system. So we have a lot of different ideas of how we want to implement that. Yeah. So for sure, yes, there will be a crafting system in the game.
All right. So one last question. We're hoping to get a little leak here. Maybe what would you guys like to have implemented for the next playtest?
So that the previous question kind of segues perfectly is, hopefully we'll have like the first foundations of the crafting system in the next playtest. So we have big ideas, but we have to start piece by piece. And I think this next playtest we should have the first piece, the groundwork for the crafting system. So you get a taste of that, I think. And then the big thing is we're fleshing out the spell system. So like for the wizard, I feel like the last playtest, like we did a pretty decent job on kind of giving that kind of diverse play style for the different classes, except for the wizard. Like he kind of felt like he stagnated from the previous playtest to the September playtest to the October one. So
Yeah.
so for the December one, yeah, like the wizard is going to be a lot cooler. So
heck yeah.
for sure, yeah, that's something we're working on. And I think that kind of segues into another I did like a super short Q&A in Discord where we're talking about what our expectations were for the December playtest. I think I mentioned that. So one of our reach goals was trying to get all the attributes. So we have the 5 attributes, right? Was it strength, agility, it's will, resourcefulness, and knowledge, right? So this time, and then so I said as a reach goal, okay, next playtest we want to get so strength, agility, and will. It's like 80%. Like agility, and strength. Most of the system, the mechanics and stuff are pretty fully developed. Will is a lot of it's in there, but you'll notice like knowledge. So if you get those random roll items and the modifiers, and you get like +3 knowledge, you're like, oh, this is junk. Or especially like +5, +3 resourceful. And so our goal, one of my personal stretch goals is, okay, let's get the rest of the attributes to actually have the same weight as the previous main 3, right? And we consider all 5 to be the main attribute, primary attributes. And so I mentioned that, okay, we want to get resourcefulness and knowledge into the game. But I think, so this is why I make these disclaimers saying, okay, we're still in alpha and I don't want to do any hard commits. Is that back then I said, okay, so next playtest we're going to get the spell system, which is heavily reliant on knowledge, on the knowledge set. And then we were thinking about doing the bag system. So we have different size bags, and that's going to be heavily reliant on your resourcefulness set. But doing the actual looking into how much work it's going to take to do that, I'm really sorry that I just misspoke, I guess, or just said it too prematurely, I guess, is that most like the next playtest, we're not going to I'm not going to be able to do, we're not going to be able to add the bag system or have resource limits fully implemented. But we're going to work really hard on making knowledge and the spell system, really interesting and give you guys a lot more creative freedom there, you know, because we did feel like, okay, Wizard was a little underwhelming this time. And so, Magic casters, you'll have a lot more to look forward to in the December playtest.
Excellent. Okay, that's
That's
really
awesome.
exciting. Well, we'll let you get out of here. I don't want to keep you for too long. That way, you
All
guys,
right, thank
you
you.
got. I'm
I
sure
think
you've
it's
got a
perfect. Yeah, 10 minutes.
yeah, you've got a huge list of things to do. But you've got 700 people watching right now. Is there anything you'd like to say to them before you leave?
I just thank you so much because uh, to us is this is beyond our wildest dreams that we will get to this point this quickly, and to have your support, this is the thing that's driving us. And because when we started this company, is okay, we had this vision, but like having a vision by yourself, that's not fun, right? Our goal is we want to share this vision, and when we share our vision and we have people that can actually appreciate what we're trying to do, that's when we get all this extra energy, and that's what drives us forward. And so I just want to say thank you very much.
Excellent. Well,
Excellent.
again, we appreciate you and you being so supportive of your troubadours, and you taking us in under your guys' wing and and allowing us to make content. Because I mean,
Thank
you
you
see
to
that.
all our troubadours too. Seriously, yeah. So I mean, you guys are the loudspeaker for us, is because as much as I want to be as heavily committed and involved with the community as this right now, we got actually start working, going back to start developing the game. There's community issues that we have to start dealing with, and there's development issues. And so to have you guys to help us, convey what we're trying to feel and what we're trying to do to the community, it's a huge burden off our chest, our back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the original idea. That's why I had kind of suggested that, right? Is because I mean, if you look in your guys' suggested changes, I mean, it's like always scrolling, right? There's too many
Yeah.
things for you guys to even begin to address. So these kind of things give us the opportunity to kind of filter some of that out and kind of help you address, the community most wanted stuff to be changed, right? So it's good that we're doing this. But again, we appreciate you hanging out with us for a little bit, but we'll let you get back to it.
Oh yeah, it was my pleasure.
All right. Hey, all
All
right.
right,
We'll
thank
see you,
you.
Terrence. See you,
Yeah.
All
Hey,
buddy.
right,
thanks, buddy.
bye everyone.
All right, guys. Um, that was awesome. We appreciate all you guys hanging around. We peaked a little over 1,000. That was phenomenal. You guys rule. For those of you that are new, I'm DT Rect. This is my co-host Infidel. He's also over on Twitch. So we're going to be providing quite a bit of content for the game. I would say we're in pretty good with Terence and them. We were going to have SDF on this one as well, but we're planning it for the future for the next one. He had a pretty game-breaking development issue that kind of came up last minute that they wanted to address right then and there. So they went ahead and did that first. So we'll have him on the next one. Those of you that asked questions that we couldn't get to, the reason is these were questions that were predetermined through a Google form. So if you guys want to go ahead, join that Discord, and we'll have another Google form for this next one. Go ahead and ask your questions in there, and we'll be selecting questions out of that and combining, the questions that are repeats into one. And so we can go ahead and get all that going. But we'll go ahead and end this here.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Infidel.
I was just gonna say, for anybody that's in here, also, we do run the podcast. We did an episode today. I think it just went out on Spotify.
Mhm.
We are looking for anyone that, especially that's a troubadour, anybody like that wants to be in on the podcast to give their 2 cents on their current playtest and their current state of the game. we would love to have any of you all, so you can just message us in the Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, any of you in here, obviously, I imagine we're gonna get quite a bit of messages after this, but you know, I'd love to just have little sessions where we all just talk about current balancing and what we think and the future of the game. You know, because unfortunately we only get, you know, an hour and 15 minutes with those guys, you know, once a month. So I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we won't be able to, you know, filter through. And I apologize those Discord beeps. I didn't and we didn't anticipate having 900 of you in here. so so this is all kind of new for us. But I appreciate you guys again. Um and we'll see you guys in the next one, all right?